Hi there, folks. Simon here. Welcome to the 2023 July Beginner TAC Tournament. This is the finals game between Cap88 and Takwolf129, or Not a Werewolf. And they have both made it here into this finals by winning their group stage, which I could go check out. I think Caps from Group 1. But anyway. And then winning in the semifinals. We had that German semifinals and American semifinals. Cap88 came out on top against Alexris. And then Takwolf came out on top against Evotion after a blitz tiebreaker. And now we're in the finals. And then they have prizes to go for. And, of course, the title of winner of this tournament. And the winner gets first pick of those prizes, whether it be the commercial tax set or the Hawk and Wolf capstones, which are super fun. But not only are we watching this finals match here to determine who is the winner of this beginner tournament, I am also joined by one of the, I think, top 25 or so players of TAC, Mayor Gills.
Hello. Yes, I think top 25 is about right. It depends on what rating you're looking at, but
We'll say he's good. He's good.
I'm in the top of the intermediate class, and I've never gotten any further than that.
I think you came close to winning the intermediate open, right? Or
Yeah,
doing well in
twice.
the intermediate. Yeah. All right. Well,
But
that's pretty good. That's pretty good then. I would
yeah,
say that's solid. All right. So they've made a game. They're waiting on us. This is played on a 6x6 board with 15 minutes on the clock and a 10-second increment. It's played with no Comey. And if you don't know what Comey is, it doesn't matter because we're not using it. So they are good to go. Cap88 in white, Takwolf in black for this game one. So let's go ahead and start with game one of this finals match.
wonder what opening we're gonna start with, because obviously in a beginner tournament, not everyone knows all sorts of opening theory, but should be interesting.
I will say that Cap88 is a student of the game and does a lot of analysis on his games that he plays, whether they be with humans or bots or what have you. Uses the Discord training bots for analyzing the games that he's played and seeing where he messed up and where he did well and that sort of thing. So I think Cap88 will probably play some fairly meta type openings. And we do
Okay,
see
let
him
me
go
see the
straight
Knights
for the
move.
Knights opening, which is uh, the preferred opening for almost everybody in whites. So sticking with he just played right into the palm of my hand there. He proved me right. Now, Not a Werewolf, and these people are both brand new players essentially. This is their first tournament for both of them, and they made it here into the finals. So that's pretty awesome. We see
Is
Cap88 going straight into that, shifting towards the center, kind of going for that horizontal. Now that that vertical was kind of blocked off, this is opening up a spot for
Ooh,
the
yeah, that
capstone.
allows Cap D4.
Oh, absolutely. That capstone was
Yeah.
just, it was begging to be played. I would have placed as white either a flat at d4 or a cap at d4 to sort of get that position in without opening up a
Yeah, I
spot for
agree.
that capstone.
I also want to point out, just on move two for black, that E5 placement is a little odd, but I think Abyss likes that move for the countering the Knight's opening.
I think you're right, yeah. I don't think that it's too bad. The only issue I find is that it gets kind of away from the action. And so I can definitely see that. It's similar to what I do with the Simmons Gambit, which is just one down, which is at E4. Um, but um, but yeah, Simmons Gambit is pretty awful as a response. But yeah, we see that White is continuing to go for these threats, but Black's position with that capstone is just so strong. It gets in the way of
Yeah,
everything. It's really
White
hard to discount that right now.
White needs to play Cap C2 at some point this game, and it probably has to be soon.
very soon, I'd say, before black gets an opportunity to do a flat at c2.
Yeah, because otherwise you just lose control of the center,
Hmm.
and black
Granted,
has a strong advantage.
if white goes cap c2, I can easily see something like c3 right, and then kind of moving that away and trying to isolate that capstone. And then white's sort of forced to go in for that vertical, which isn't too
Yes,
bad, but definitely does cut off their options.
I agree, but it still, I think, gives them a decent position.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say cap
Black,
c2 is still probably the ideal move for white,
yeah,
and they go for it.
and the c3
And
right.
there's the
I think
c3
just
right.
fill in.
You know, it's like we know what we're talking about almost.
I'd hope after playing this game for however long.
Yeah. Ooh,
Not filling in.
that
Interesting.
I feel like, oh, okay. So he's wanting black to
Black
play
to
at
fill in.
c3 so that white can capture up.
I don't know about that. I think it's not bad, but I think just filling in would be better.
I think you're right, but maybe white wants to get that anchor point there at that top edge of the board before, so that they don't just get cut off and looped around. Because if white hadn't played at c6, black could have played at c6 and then done a horizontal road at the top of the board,
That's true.
and it would have been really difficult for white to sort of interrupt that with their current positioning. And now we see the tack threat from white, first tack threat of the game. Black, instead of placing at c3, which would have invited white's capstone to move, black moves over and captures onto c4. This maintains the isolation on the capstone from white, which I think is a really solid move, and not one that I would have thought to do initially. I would have
Well,
probably dropped
I think
a
that was
flat
actually
there.
the best move
Oh, I
because
agree. Bringing this cap over is a great move.
it completely cuts off white's vertical pretty much. And it also is starting to make a really strong horizontal threat at the top of the board.
Yeah, and isolates that capstone more. Just
Yeah, I
keeps
think
it
white
away, because
could
otherwise that
play.
capstone would have come up and then threatened that
Yes.
d3 stack. So
Yeah,
this is a really solid position here for black. Black is
I
really
think
playing this well.
white has to play SD4. I don't see another good move.
Yeah, that seems like it's probably going to be the inevitable move here, but goes for the flat at d4
Mhm.
instead. I understand the hesitance to drop a wall here, but it might have been worthwhile. You would have also had the opportunity to capture down onto d3 to recover your flat in that stack, which could have made it better. Black
Ooh,
goes up, makes the citadel. Now you've got to see a wall at d3.
that has to be wall D3. And if wall D3 happens, black plays some random move, say like A5. I don't know that that's good, but just say A5. And then D3 plus, black can't smash because the capstone's pinned.
Correct. You could see something like after a wall gets dropped where black takes b5 right, and cuts off that so that it's not a vertical threat anymore.
Yeah.
That could be something that happens here. Additionally, or it could be a d5 left, which is probably a better move. D5 left would be better than b5 right. But yeah,
Or just
d5 left
play
would cut that
C3.
off. Yeah, could totally just wall c3 as well, or flat
Or
it.
just play flat C3.
Yeah,
But I think the wall has to drop here.
yeah, for sure.
It's interesting because black is in a tenuous position. They are very much ahead right now, but they have those two vulnerabilities that could be capitalized on later. Or, well, now with a wall, like we're
Yeah,
talking about. But
I like it. I like black's position. I like white having the opportunity to mess that up quite a bit right now. But yeah, I'm interested to see what white will do here, because playing an offensive wall well is a tough thing to wrap your head around as attack player. Offensive walls feel weird because in your brain you think of walls as being purely defensive. And so doesn't drop the wall here. This is a big, big opening for black.
Yes. Black could play. I don't know that black should have been focused on the left, actually, there. I would have liked maybe f5.
So I think that the right is fine to not focus on because you've got the citadel. Nothing's going to mess that up to the point where you can't use it.
I suppose so. This is a 10-way threat, so you do need to do something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
And so
almost.
if black manages this this threat, then yeah, it becomes problematic. I don't think that it would be Tinue even with B3 plus.
It's very close.
It
It's
is very
hard for
close.
me
We
to.
got the wall here now. This is going to cut that off and make that a lot more difficult.
But wall's still not d3, because wall d3 would have cut off that threat as well.
Correct, yeah. What is white going for? Black's making the
Now
tack
black
threat.
does f5.
Tack threat's going.
Yep.
Now, I think. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. I mean, the wall's gonna. I think the wall's gonna come up, right?
I mean, I don't see any other good move. Like a5 minus would have been technically stopping the threat, but it looks bad.
Yeah, that would have just resulted in a renewal, but this is tough.
Do you think b6 maybe? A good
For black?
continuation?
No, I
Yeah.
think that the capstone should come up now onto c5. Black's cap goes so 2c4 plus. Bring that capstone up to c5, and it looks really bad for white. It's not Tinue, but
Yeah,
it's still really
because
good.
that forces a5 right, and then you can take that stack.
Mm-hmm.
But you're starting to give up the d4 stack if you do that. You're starting to move your capstone away from defending that large stack of vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
That's why I was looking at b6.
B6 works, but
It's a tough position any way you slice it for white, though. Pretty much any move black makes.
yeah, black's in a good spot, which
Black could
is
even
really
just play
good.
a3 as like a stalling move, just to get more flats down.
Yeah, they really could.
But does go for the b6. Another attack threat. There are a couple different options
Yep. And
for
then
that.
if we see something like a5 right happening to cut that off, then black can play at d6 for a new threat renewal,
Mm-hmm.
just to be able to throw
And
that
that's a
cap all the
tough
way
one to
out.
spot.
Yeah, it's tougher to spot, though with your focus on that specific threat line, I think it would be much
Yeah,
easier.
because while this is a beginner tournament, it's the finals of the beginner tournament. So
Yeah,
we're
they've
not.
definitely proven that they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, there have been a couple moves who have been like, well, there might be a better move. They're definitely playing up to expectations for. Uh, well, you're an even better tech player than I am, and I'd say we're both pretty good.
Yeah, they're doing a good job here. Interesting play.
I think this is slightly better than a5 right, but it's still a tough spot.
Yeah, and now I wonder, do
I
you?
just I just play c6 here if I'm black. I don't think I need to continue making tack threats, especially with that wall that can start eating up um any flat on flat captures you make. Just keep placing more flats to make a stronger threat in the future.
You're probably right. I just worry that if you give up this constant threat, you're going to allow for white to drop a wall at d3.
That's true.
So goes for the a3 placement to get more flats on the board and also to make a threat.
Yep.
This one has to be stopped by b4 minus.
Either 2a4
or
minus or
yeah,
b4 minus.
it has to capture on a3 or b3. Those are your only options here. And if you come down with a3, black fills in with a4 for the new threat.
Yeah. I think b4 minus is the move, and it doesn't look good, but
Yeah, I mean, if you do b4 minus, then b4 gets filled in for the new threat also. So just more flats, flat, 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 flat. More flats, more better, right?
yeah. I mean, b4 minus, b4, 2a4, right?
Yeah.
And then I
But
guess
you're
maybe
able to
you see
smash.
smash.
Yeah, you would clearly smash, and then it would basically be anyway.
But the smash wouldn't even be attack threat.
No, it would just be so dang good though,
Yeah. So we do
because
see
you'd
the
be
b4
building up. You'd
minus.
have 3 underneath your capstone, and that would just be so strong.
It would only be 2 black flats.
Yeah. Sorry, 3 in power in terms of 2 black flats and then the black capstone.
Yeah.
Be so good.
Yeah.
Like this is so far into black's favor right now. I'd say you want to drop another black flat at b4 here to fill in.
You could also do a super cheeky move of your own SD3. Just completely stop that as an idea.
As black.
As black, yeah.
Um,
I don't think it's as good, but it'd
with
be funny.
when you've got the power and the momentum here and the potential to bait out the smash on b4, I don't think it's necessary. I think that if you were in a trickier spot and you were expecting a wall to drop at d3, yeah,
Yeah.
that could be an option.
Yeah.
But
No, I don't think,
you
to
could
be clear,
even
I
do
don't think
just a
it's good,
flat at
but
d3.
yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, black's just so dominant right now in both terms of, honestly, in terms of flats right now, because their one vulnerability is well defended, and white had to play a wall.
Yeah,
And also they're making a lot of threats, and white has almost no threats, honestly.
they are even on flats.
I mean, yes, but it's black's move to make.
Yeah, and black has some options for captures to help things out. Does fill in.
Yep.
This is the
E4,
renewal of the threat, which honestly
2a4
is
right
not
is
that easy to
almost
see
forced. That's true. Yeah.
because you're focused on that a3 connection, and if that's there,
Yeah. So
like you're
to be
like,
clear,
oh, I
a6
can't
minus
see it.
is the threat
Yeah,
for
a6 minus
for
would be the road.
everyone that doesn't see it.
Because like you're focused on that a3 b3 area, and you're like, oh well, he can't make a road down there, so it's fine. But it's that one
Hmm.
right above that wall that's the problem.
Yeah. Are we gonna see like a5 right, 2b6 minus?
2b6 minus would be wild, but I could see it totally happening. It might result in a wall at b6. But you also have to take a look at this bottom half of the board is wide open, and white has quite a bit of resources on that part. And if white gets a chance to make a connection with like b1, a1, something like that, it's going to be pretty dangerous because black doesn't have anything in the area.
Okay, so white sees the threat and does c5 left.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not bad. Oh no. You can't smash this black. Whatever will you do? I briefly looked at that just to see if it was viable, and I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
that
can't
doesn't work.
can't manage it right now. That would probably be bad. So what would be good for black here? I think you're gonna have to abandon the string of threats. You could drop a flat at B2 or C3, and that would be fine. But dropping at C3 or B2 invites the capstone to move, especially over at C3, because then white's capstone will most likely come up, and that can be problematic because then that capstone is no
How
longer isolated; it gets back in the game.
how about B4 minus?
Um, I looked at B4 minus, and that's not bad. It renews the threat. It requires that 2A4
2A4
minus
minus.
move to happen. And then what black does is throws that flat stack up, and then that's Tinue. So yeah, that would probably be the ideal move is B4 minus, because that leads to Tinue.
Ah,
I'm pretty positive B4 minus is a guaranteed Tinue line, because
yeah, I was looking at it. It's pretty close.
the only defense is 2A4 minus, and once you do 2A4 minus, you do 3B3 plus 1, 2, and then that's a threat by placing at A4 or by capturing left with like 3B5 left. Yeah, it's Tinue. That's,
So it'd be 2B6 minus 1 1 is the only temporary defense, and that's
yeah.
very temporary.
Yep, it would have been Tinue doing the B4 minus.
Yeah, that's why I wondered. I wondered if you saw that. I was pretty sure it's Tinue, and I was like, "Come on, there's a sequence."
Yep,
But yeah,
yep, that would have been it.
for,
But it's not it. They played something
yep,
else.
A2
And
and
it's no
B2.
longer possible because of that B2 placement
Yep,
that is there to recapture. So no longer a
yep,
Tinue line.
yep. Let's see. How does black work with this? This is becoming more tricky.
I mean, honestly, I'm wondering how white works with this. White's gonna have to go for the horizontal. They keep on playing these moves that look like they're going for a vertical, but it's not like functional.
Yeah, it's not there because of the black capstone. This is an interesting capture.
So I think he's wanting B2 to come up so he can capture down with B4 and
Yeah,
then try to make a spread up for a road.
but then just white just walls. And then if you spread down, the white capstone gets involved. Eventually,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Here, B2 plus, B4 minus. Wall at B4, spread down. Capstone comes left onto B2, and then kind of wrecks it.
This has got to be a B4 minus, right? Because yeah, that's what he was
Yes.
playing for. This is now attack threat. So
Yes.
White's got to stop this, likely with a wall, or could capture onto A6. But I think that would still end up with a Tinue. But because it would just be uh, it'd be 4B3
Yeah,
plus
there's
1 2.
the wall B4. Where does this black stack go though, now, though?
I
Those
think you just
walls
got to
and
throw it to
capstone
the
are going to
right and
recover
invite the
it.
capstone.
That capstone's going to start recovering all these flats that you worked so hard to work with.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know
If
that
you
you
go
have any other
right,
option.
if you go right, the white capstone comes up and then to the right and then gets onto D4.
That's the move I was looking at for black.
Yeah.
You make
So
the positive
C2
flank on
plus.
differential moves. Yeah, now the capstone's got to come up. And it
Now this
does.
doesn't look good for black anymore.
Yeah, because white's going to be able to hoover. Um, do you play something like D6 here? And just kind of.
I don't know what that really does.
It preps for a vertical line that you defend with your own capstone.
It
So
preps
when
for a
white,
vertical line that white's about to cut off anyways with its capstone.
yeah, when white goes right, you go right with your cap to protect one of the stacks, and then you can continue to go down. Because if white throws all the way to e3, that's the real problem. But I don't expect that
Yeah,
to happen. I
I'm
think
not
white's going
looking
to go
at white
straight to
throwing.
d3 instead of e3.
Yeah, I just don't see a vertical in black's future because white has such strong control of the bottom, especially with the capstone. Okay, we see b2, which I still don't think does much, but I mean, I don't see a move that was good there, so hard to say. Now white comes right onto d3. Nope, doesn't come right onto d3. Interesting.
What is white trying to do?
I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Now, I'm interested
Now white,
why black didn't go for a b3 placement there to pin the capstone where it was.
well, b2, oh yeah, that's a good point. But b2 was actually not a bad move. I just looked again. It prevents the throw from us onto e3.
Oh yeah, because of the road.
Yeah. Black has to play d1 here, otherwise they're getting crushed on the bottom by white, I think. And then they have no more vertical if they don't get d1.
Yeah.
This is still this is still a close game,
Oh, it very
but I
much
think
is.
white
I don't
has
think
better
it's
ideas.
over yet. Black
Yeah,
did
it's
squander the Tinue earlier, but um,
yeah, white has better ideas, I think, right now, but it's still pretty. I mean, I think white has advantage, but it's kind of close to equal.
yeah, black now set up that pin, so now white's
Yep.
capstone can't move without white making a flat capture, probably at b2.
Or
And
just
then,
b4 minus.
yeah, that would also work. And black wouldn't be able to smash.
What's white going for?
Yeah, I would expect white to go for the horizontal along the bottom here, but not going for that.
I mean, this kind of goes for it. It's just on the third row. Because if white plays b1, then black plays a1, and vice versa. And that's a pretty strong refutation of that line at the bottom, I think.
Hmm.
Now white kind of is forced to play d1, but d1 also just looks good for white,
Yeah.
I think.
And then after that, you'll see black play at b1, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Black has done a good job making sure the white capstone doesn't move, because on move 22, when white could have started moving the capstone to start recovering flats, they chose not to, and ever since then, black has been doing a decent job keeping the white's capstone
Hmm.
stuck. So
I think black's doing a really great job of pinning that white capstone. If black if white makes the move eventually to be able to bring b4 down and then throw over to e3 to capture, I think you'll see this game swing dramatically, but right now
yeah,
it is positionally really in black's favor. But
yeah,
that can change dramatically with those three stacks all right next to each other with lots of white flats there and all within black's main line. Yeah, it could change in an instant.
yeah. This is kind of what I like about beginner games, because like all the intermediate games and above, we start seeing games where there's like two captures until like people are at a minute on the clock and have to start making fast decisions. Whereas this, we have like five stacks, a couple with multiple captives under them.
Oh yeah. Wild stacks make the game more fun. That was a fun move. Black
I
might
don't think
play
it's bad
D1
either.
here. I think Black plays D1 here.
Oh yeah, and then you can't move the wall up.
Yeah, then you've got to capture D1 if you're white, or
Yeah,
you capture onto E3 with your flat.
that's true actually. But then you just get recaptured.
Yeah, but you mess things up and can potentially set yourself up for a bigger capture with your capstone later on, or with that wall
Yeah, I
later
guess so.
on.
So if you're looking at D1, F3 left, then you would probably see two D3 right and then D2 right threaten the wall or threaten the humongous stack.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. I can see that as a line. It's not bad.
We do also want to take a look at the time here. Cap's got 4 minutes on the clock, whereas Black Takwolf has 6 minutes on the clock.
And
So
it's a plus 10 increment, right? So
yeah.
10-second increment.
Okay, we
So
did
we
see
do
the
see
D1
D1.
drop. Are we gonna see an E3 left? Because if that wall captures right or up, it's over. Okay, they
You
did
know,
C1 right, which was another thing that I saw, but
yeah,
didn't think
this
that it was
works.
as
It just
good.
isn't as fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that D1 stack though is so unlikely to fall later. I mean, I guess there's like SC1 capture right and then capture or and then throw right, but
Hmm. I think a flat at C1 is better here for Black. Black is up on material by a significant amount, and they're
yeah,
positionally better. They can afford to drop a flat at C1, I think.
yeah.
They
I was just
will.
looking to see how dangerous having that stack on D1 is.
Actually,
I
no.
don't
If
think
they
it's
drop a flat on C1, White comes up with D2 and starts making these material captures,
yeah,
and that could be the end of it for Black. I
yeah.
think that White is in
Although it's
a
not
really good
so
spot.
simple because if white goes up with D1, black does something. Where does white go next? To the right, probably.
Okay, now D2 plus, right?
Yeah, I think D2 plus is by far the best move.
So you'll get this wall up on D3, and then if Black is like, okay, well, I'm going to capture on a D1 to make the threat, White leaves one behind, goes to D3 right, and gets that huge stack ready to spread up for a huge positive flat count differential move, and to ruin all of the setup that Black has been building for this entire game.
And you're also starting to make a really solid horizontal line with white
Hmm.
because you would just be missing B3 after the spread up.
Yeah, and a vertical line also.
True.
Like it works really well for White. I think Black was up on position for a long time, but those liabilities under those three stacks were kind of glaring at you this whole time, just waiting for White to take advantage of them. And now
Yep.
White is finally doing that, finally has the opportunity, and it's going to be spinning around quite a bit, I'd say. Black playing up at C5.
C5. I don't know what that does.
Ooh. Um, if White were to bring If white were to bring the wall up onto d4, black could smash, since it's no longer a vertical threat.
Yeah. And if white spreads up, then black just captures that stack back, and
Black could also
white
do
doesn't get
something
much.
funky here, where they could take just the capstone by itself on c4 and bring it right.
Onto D4.
Yeah, and so that is a attack threat by throwing it left and smashing on b4, but it's also threatening to capture that d3 stack, which honestly is a really fun move. I don't know that it's particularly good,
I think it
but
would be
it's
a good
really
move if
fun.
white didn't have the move to play here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a really fun move, you know?
Like if white didn't play this 2d3 right, that would have actually been a consideration that I would have
Mm-hmm.
put pretty high. Not just fun, I think it would have been good too. But
That's not important. It's if it's a fun move, that's what's important. That's why I
I
don't
mean,
win as
who am
many
I to argue?
games.
Hey, you're still better than me, so
Well, we'll see. All right, so we've got the move primed for that big FCD swing. However, you don't want to make that move just yet. You want to wait for that until later on down the line when the game is closer to ending. Because if you make it now, it can get recaptured and then you can lose that flat count advantage. Black's building position, continuing to drop more flats, trying to stay ahead on positioning and on material, and then counting on his ability to use maybe his capstone or other pieces to recover um, these these pieces that he's going to lose in the stack spread. Maybe force an earlier spread.
just looking again, I don't see that many good options for white to make a road.
No, there aren't a lot. Black doesn't have a ton, but they have some that aren't great.
So
White
this
has the
game looks like
opportunity
it's
to
going to end
play
on
at like
flat.
B1 and A1, and I think playing at B1 and A1 for White isn't bad at all. That makes a threat by throwing the cap down, but it also sets up to be able to capture up and make those threats as well. It's not bad. It's not great, but
Yeah,
it's not bad.
yeah, but like both both players don't have many road ideas, and there are still a lot of reserves. So this is probably going to go into a time scramble where either someone's going to miss a road or there's going to be a lot of stack movements to gain captives and have a really swingy flat game.
Speaking of time
Although,
scramble, Cap88
yeah,
down below 1 minute on the clock.
ooh, ooh, ooh.
I mean, you
Wait,
gotta
could you
smash
smash?
this. You gotta smash this. It's not. It doesn't immediately lose, which means you gotta smash.
It almost immediately wins, actually.
It's very close. When black smashes, white has to throw their capstone left onto E3.
Yeah,
It's the only option. And
you
then
have.
black spreads left, and it might win anyway. It's very
Yeah,
close.
this is very, very close to Tinue, that smash. He has to be calculating it
Oh,
right
please
now.
do it. It's more
I hope
fun,
they're
also. Like, if white's wall on B4 weren't there, obviously you couldn't do it. But it is there. So
Yeah.
smash it. Come on, you know you wanna. So,
I want to
for
look
those
at this
not following
position. Like,
along, the
what?
smash makes it so that it's a vertical tack threat, connecting all the way down to E1 by spreading that stack down. White would have only one opportunity to stop that threat, and that is to throw this C3 capstone onto E3. Now we see the fun. Now I think there might be a spread here to give a vertical threat and a horizontal threat at the same time, which would be Tinue for black. Um, if they bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they bring the whole stack left. Drop 1, 2, 3, 4. They
Yeah,
drop.
no, no, it should work. It should work because you leave almost everything on D4,
Yep.
and the capstone on c4, and then you still have a horizontal by smashing a wall on c3, or you have the vertical on d4 spreading down.
Yeah, I think it's 6e4 left 4-2.
For there it is.
Yep, and that I think that's Tinue.
That should be Tinue. Well, he
Dang good
missed one, but
sequence.
he got it back.
I didn't see the Tinue. Because I didn't see the stack in my head well enough. I'm very bad at that. And here we go with the C3
Yep,
placement for the
there
win.
it is.
That was a dang good
Wow.
Tinue sequence and a dang good game. Also, Black was the one who had the Tinue earlier in the game that they missed. So this worked out for them. Like, they still won with Tinue. Great game. That was awesome. Super well played to Takwolf. Well
Yep.
played, and congratulations for winning game one. That was just fun. It was just fun.
I think this was also a harder Tinue sequence to see.
It was specifically because of that stack. Like, you had to be very aware of how many flats were going to be in that stack on e4.
Yeah.
And, like, I had a hard time visualizing that. It's very, very tough to count the stacks mentally in your head when you're not looking at the picture. And I think part of that is that I'm not used to that because I have PTN Ninja and I can just open stuff up, right? But you
Hmm.
can't do that when you're in a tournament because it's against the rules. But that was good. Well played to Takwolf. I am suddenly like, wow, okay, because I thought Cap88 was gonna do really well in this finals because of how often I see him analyzing his games in the Discord and how well he did in the semifinals against Alexis, someone who's already proven to be good, who won every single game in his group stage and then lost both right away to Cap88. Like, I was expecting big things from Cap88 here, and then suddenly Takwolf comes out and wins with a Tinue as Black. They had two Tinues in the game, missed one of them, but got the more difficult one later on. Like,
Yep.
super well played. So yeah, awesome, awesome game there. That was great for a beginner game. That was great for any game, but
Yeah.
it was really great for a beginner game. So that is all for today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is the community hub and where you can find all sorts of TAC resources like strategy guides and people to play with, whether that be right here on playtac.com or asynchronously right there in the Discord server itself. You can find tons of people to play with, chat with, one of us maybe, or one of these players. You can find tons of people on there, tons of things to do. So be sure to check that out. And until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.